video on something that I want to have play around with while I'm searching through the fridges. I'll be back. So, I'm making some fermented vegetables. I want to make a fermented vegetable sauce. So I'm in the process of fermenting some vegetables at the moment. So it was mixed vegetables, and it was basically, the idea was to make it from leftover vegetables. So in a kitchen, you've generally got scrap vegetables, which are things like the stalks from cabbage, like that, and some cabbage leaves, and carrot peelings, and like the, what we call it, the bits of onion skin, not the skin, but the outer stuff, which is a little bit tougher, and then kind of like pepper tops, and just kind of and bits of onion like that. Just kind of, we've always got like scraps of vegetables in the kitchen, and it was a chef on TV, and he was talking about they make a sauce. Well, no, someone for them makes a sauce out of all their scrap vegetables. So I was kind of thought, I'll have a go at that. So that was like a long-term kind of project. But I tasted so to make fermented vegetables in sauerkraut, what you do is you add 2% salt to whatever weight of vegetables that you've got. Cabbage is a good idea because it normally starts off the sauerkraut kind of fermented vegetable process a lot kind of quite quicker. Although it does work with carrot skins, cabbage tends to work quicker for whatever kind of reason. So you add the salt, you squish it around, pack it into a container. When the liquid starts coming out, squish it around for like 5-10 minutes with your hands. That's like that kind of motion, squeezing it and things, and the liquid kind of wants to come out. Pack it into a container, leave it for a couple of weeks, and it starts to ferment and turns into depending how you make it, like a sauerkraut, fermented vegetables, kimchi if you put like chili paste in there, and other things that are like South Korean. So I did that, and just that's kind of quite interesting. But I didn't squish it around for 5-10 minutes. I couldn't bother. It was getting a bit late. It's getting a bit late now. But what I did do is I kind of thought, what I'll do is I'll just add the salt to it and mix it around a little bit. So and then what will happen overnight is the vegetables will kind of steep in the salt, and the liquid will naturally come out of them, and it'll be easier in the morning to kind of like squish my way through it. But I tasted it after I'd kind of added the salt overnight, and I was kind of like, that's kind of quite nice. So I suppose I'm not kind of wanting to make this is a long video, a long way around my thinking, isn't it? I do apologise. So I was kind of thinking, well, that was kind of quite nice. And you kind of go, well, it's almost like a coleslaw. Apart from what a coleslaw is, that you don't squish all the vegetables together. But you would salt it to remove excess liquid, and then kind of put on some kind of dressing or mayonnaise, something like that. So it's kind of steeped vegetables type of thing. I want to put in some tomatoes as well. So I've got picked up some cheap tomatoes from the supermarket. They're on reduced as well. But I don't want to put those in just yet. So what have we got in here? We've got some cabbage. So we've got some hearts cabbage. I forgot what that is. And then we've got some red onion, we've got some carrot, we've got a couple of peppers, we've got a chili in there, and we've got like a thumb size bit of ginger as well. So there's about 1 kilo worth of vegetables. So that needs, I'm not going to do 2%, I'm going to do 1% of salt. So there's 10 grams worth of salt in there. So this is the bowl that I'm going to put the vegetables in. So it doesn't really matter that salt's not going to get in there. So mix round to get the salt. Oh, and I'm using rock salt, which I've pounded up rather than free running salt, because the liquid's already come out of it. There's chemicals in there's chemicals in free running table salt, and I don't want those chemicals in things that I particularly eat as much. I like rock salt or sea salt, which has got minerals in as well. So already you can see it's getting a bit glistening, and there's liquid kind of coming out of it. Oh yeah, and that was something that I wanted to add as well, was that if you dress a salad leaves, lettuce leaves, a little bit too early, they go too kind of soft and not very kind of like pleasant to look at. But I remember two of my chef friends one of my chef friends quite liked putting the dressing on earlier and turning the salad kind of quite soft. So he kind of quite liked that. So at the end of the evening, there'd be some salad left, and he'd just eat it himself because of the because of the dressing on it had made it softer and kind of made it taste nicer. But it totally didn't look. People want a crisp salad, don't they? They don't kind of want a soft, limp salad on their plate. And then I remember another chef friend who'd worked for a very famous chef, so like one of the first chefs in the UK to get 3 Michelin stars, and this guy was and kind of quite is remarkable, to say the least. And my friend talked about he used to save all the bits of salad for himself as well, that he would eat the salad, and I think he used to even put the salad dressing on a little bit early, and you would use the, so from certain lettuce leaves you only really want the inside, so like frisee lettuce you don't use the outside, you only use the inside of the frisee lettuce. I forgot what the proper name of it is. But you can see that the liquid's kind of coming out of that sooner. So, and he used to like the outsides of the frisee lettuce, and I presume what he did was he would dress the salad and leave it and have it at the end of the evening for his kind of like supper type thing. And you kind of think, well, that kind of makes sense, because it's the outer leaves that were going to throw them away, and this chef was very frugal, to say the least. And he would, and I'm presuming he would dress the leaves, and then it would soften them. But so I kind of think like the outer leaves were very bitter, but as I've got older, I quite like bitter tasting things. I just need to go to the other side of the kitchen for something. So I quite like bitter tasting things more. Like whereas when I was younger, I wouldn't want something that was bitter in flavour. But the idea of the outside leaves, and you would dress them and then leave them to soften in the dressing, then eat them at the end of the evening. I kind of think that's kind of quite nice. So I'm not going to squish the tomatoes into that. I'm going to leave those vegetables overnight. We'll have a look at them for a bit more than overnight. So I'm going to have this for my probably lunch tomorrow when I get in from yoga. So just a bit of plastic over the top in the form of a shower cap, which I use. Well, that's rubbish, isn't it? If I can wrestle a shower cap. So get a shower cap on there, because I'm trying to cut down the amount of plastic, and shower caps work particularly well for that. So that go in the fridge overnight, and then I think what we'll do is we'll see how it is, and then we'll squish in those tomatoes tomorrow. So we'll get the juice from the tomatoes as well, and then we'll kind of like see if it needs any more marinating. But this is already 7 minutes of me waffling about something, whereas I should be doing TikTok videos which are 30 seconds because people have got short attention spans and all that kind of stuff. No, I'm never going to do that. Well, I should never say never, should I? But anyway, I'm waffling far too much. Right, so it's had 24 hours. So moisture's coming out of it, but not lots and lots and lots and lots and lots. So I think I'll give it a squish around for... it's a bit cold actually. This is going to be uncomfortable on my hands, on my delicate little pinkies. So we'll give it a squish around for 5 or 10 minutes. Oh, that's kind of changing the texture kind of quite quickly. How does it taste? No, I don't think it needs any more salt. It'll need some pepper. So, what I'm going to do, I've shredded up some spring greens. Yes, I didn't think it was green enough, so I'm tempted to add that to it and give it a squish around, because I think the salt will start to break that down. I mean, eating greens like that, you know, it's like hard work. But if we put it in with there, and the salt starts breaking it down, I think we're better. I need a little bit more salt in. Did I buy something else to put in? I can't remember. I'm not going to put any oil in. I'm not going to put any oil in, but we might put a bit more salt in. Right, I'll mash it around for a bit, and then we might add that cabbage as well. I think that's what we'll do. I think so. Oh yeah, I was going to put in some of these tomatoes, wasn't I? So there's 250 grams of the tomatoes, and I've weighed out about 2.5 grams worth of salt. So We need that salt in because we've added the tomatoes to it. So scrunch up the tomatoes and then start combining all that. And then we'll give it a mix around for squishing everywhere. So squish them first. Give it a mix around for 10 minutes, 5 minutes. 5 minutes, I think. Can't be bothered with 10. And then that'll get everything combined together. And then I think we'll just add in those spring greens at the last minute. I think. God, that's made a mess of my kitchen cupboards. Not great. So squish, and then squish it all together. And then I think we'll weigh the spring greens, and then add that amount of salt, and then mix it all around. I think that's what we'll do. I made a mess of my hands now. I made a mess of my phone. Actually, I only did that for about 2 minutes, and it's all nicely broken down, really. So we could start just fermenting that, put it into a jar and pack it down, and it'll start naturally fermenting. But I don't want to do that. I kind of want to make a salad. So it's about 200 grams worth of spring greens. Although we're in summer, I don't know why we've got spring greens. And then there's 2 grams worth of salt. Yeah, so it's 1%. We're doing 1% salt, aren't we? We're not doing 2%. Oh yeah, if we were going to naturally ferment it, we'd need to put in more salt. We need to put in 2% of the weight of everything, rather than just the 1% that I'm doing. So the idea is to get it all mixed together, and then the spring greens covered in a salty, briny, dressingy liquid, and then it'll start to hopefully break those down. I'm going to leave it at room temperature. I'll have it for my dinner when I come home from swimming later on tonight, and it doesn't need to be in the fridge then. I think we get a little bit too paranoid about fridges and keeping things cool. Don't always think you need to do it. It certainly extends shelf life, but I think we've got a little bit too reliant on it. Certainly in the colder weather, you can leave things out in the garage or in the shed once it's nice and cold in a covered container, like an airtight container, and it acts as a fridge. I always think those pests and insects can't get to it, like just the same as a fridge if it's in an airtight container. Yeah, that's more interesting, isn't it? So let's just make sure the cabbage is at the bottom, and we'll see how it goes. And then I don't think it will need. How's it taste now? I'll put some pepper in. It's kind of hard to eat, but I think it'll soften up in a couple of hours' time. I don't think it'll be nicer. I don't know why I didn't buy any cabbage yesterday, but anyway, I'm only playing around. That's my excuse anyway. Right, let's give this a taste. I don't actually know what the point of this video is, if in all honesty. I think I was having a bit of a think while I was swimming, and I kind of think it's not a coleslaw or a slaw, whatever you want to call it. It's not like we haven't dressed it. We've only dressed it with a little bit of salt, so there's no acid in there, and there's no oil in there, so it's not really a kind of like a salad that's been dressed. I think it's just, if you want to eat raw vegetables, I think it's a way of softening them, so you're not just kind of like chomping your way through lots and lots of raw vegetables. Although that's supposed to be really good for you. It really is supposed to be good for your jaw. So I just kind of think seasoning beforehand just softens them to make them a little bit more palatable, and you get that juice underneath, which is kind of quite delicious. But anyway, so what does it taste like? It's like a crunchy salad without the dressing. So I suppose if you took a salad to work, the danger is that it goes soft if you put the dressing on beforehand. But we could do that with vegetables, and you still get the idea of a salad, but you'd be getting lots of leafy greens. So you could just do it with your leafy greens. So I don't know. Nice. I don't think it needs any dressing on it. Maybe a little bit of oil, but if you're into like a hardcore diet and up the amount of vegetables that you're eating and get as much nutrients from it as possible, then this is probably the way to do it. Although you do access different nutrients if you cook food. So I don't know, I'm not an expert, but it makes it easier to eat. So from that point of view, I think it's a bit of a success, but not really. Probably a little bit pointless, in all honesty. But anyway, it might lead somewhere interesting in the future. You could certainly squeeze all the juice out of it, and then you could stir fry it and cook it. You know, might even make it even more palatable, but you know, interesting all the same.